I said good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the IMPA events, virtual events program. With this today, perhaps what is our highlight of the week. It's the second webinar on the IMPA SAVE program. Our chairman, Mikael Carlson, is here live. You won't be able to see him, but you will be able to hear from him. And I'm going to hand over to Mikael in just a moment. But I'd just like to explain what's going to happen for this session over the course of the next hour. We're going to start with the first part of the session, which will be a number of presentations from solutions providers that will explain exactly how and what they're doing to eliminate single-use plastic drinking water bottles on board vessels. We've got real solutions here that are being presented. And so we've got 4 or 5 presentations from these companies, 5 minutes each one. You'll be able to see exactly what they can do. At the end of that session, with those 4 or 5 presentations done, we're then going to move into a discussion with our ship owners and managers who will share some of their experiences within this domain. So that's how the session's going to run. We'll try and make it as smooth as possible with the tech, but please bear with us as we progress through things over this. It is worth just bearing with us, and it's such an important issue. The introduction now, I'm going to hand over to Mikael, and he's going to take it from here and get us started. Mikael, the floor of the stage is yours.
Thank you, Stephen, and welcome you all to our second IMPA SAVE webinar. Our agenda is centered around our people, planet, profit and purpose. And with a special thanks to our IMPA SAVE Council, having, by the way, no financial gain of volunteering for this, I want to thank Dorte Meilwang from Maersk, John Beck Williamson Ship Management, Alan Muir from TK Shipping, Paolo Magonio from Scorpio Group, and Marinas Kokinis from Oceanic Catering. All contribute their views and opinions to front the issues that brings us together today. Also, my appreciation to the IMPA CEO, Susan Kofod, and General Secretary Stephen Alexander, and the glue of it all, the IMPA team, Jasmine Shestak and Dominic Scott, for organizing and setting up our website, knowledge center, and communications platform. Today, I hope you took the opportunity to listen in on Ian Houghton about an hour ago from Lord Howe Island. I think for the ones who viewed it, saw the images, this is a huge problem about plastic. And it's also what inspired me personally in deciding to action the waste issues in our industry and driving towards this meeting today. Since our webinar in July, we have moved from 0 to 12 companies pledging and officially supporting a reduction of plastic drinking water bottles on board the vessels by 2025. And I just heard we had a 13th sign up this week. IMPA is about procurement. IMPA SAVE adds the environmental impact. And today you will learn more about the total cost of ownership and actual ROI for your company when procuring plastic water bottles for vessels consumption versus solutions of water filtration solutions. And there are great cost savings. We have a panel of solution providers who will speak today. They are also ready to answer questions via the chat function. I need to clarify that these solutions are the ones tested in the marine environment, and being on the panel is at no cost for them, but their own time. The environmental ROIs are saving 7 kilograms of plastic per vessel, just on bottles, cardboard, and other packaging materials, an average of 18 pallet lifts at 1 ton each. The CO2 footprint on transportation completely cut out of the supply chain with these solutions. Our industry consumes close to 1 billion water bottles, equaling 40 tons of plastic waste. On a global level, 8 million tons of plastic ends up in the ocean a year. That is 22 tons today, and it's 913 tons this very hour we're talking. It is almost 200,000 bottles an hour that's just lifted into our oceans. We also have a panel today, and I will repeat a little bit what Stephen said, that will talk about their experiences to change the crew culture on board the vessels towards the filtered water versus bottled water, and how they've been able to make that change. And again, please elevate any questions you might have using our chat function. Personally, I want to thank you for your time to join us today, and my hope is our actions together will contribute to our future generations, driving responsible procurement forward. And I want you to act and ask for any support you need for your companies to pledge to reduce the use of plastic water bottles. Speaking will not make changes, action will. So again, I welcome to our IMPA SAVE, or your IMPA SAVE webinar. First of all, and first out, I'll hand us over to Mr. Greg Shannon from Jova in Gothenburg, Sweden. Greg?
Good morning. Good morning and hello from Gothenburg, Sweden. I hope everybody can hear me. We are so proud and so happy to be a part of this initiative, and we thank our hosts. Jova is a company that I work for. We have a head office in Sweden here, and Jova has supplied the marine industry with real water filtration systems and solutions for 60 years. And we are very proud now to introduce our product, which is called the Jova Safe Water product. And hopefully you can see a picture of it on the screen now. Okay, so Mikael has introduced the main numbers here, the issues. And there are three main issues, we believe. The first is there's 55,000 commercial vessels, and they are generating, 1 million plastic bottles every year. And that is just completely unacceptable. The crew should be able to have a safe, clean source of drinking water on board. They should not have to resort to plastic bottles. The other issue is the cost. One vessel with about 20 crew members is spending in the order of 5,000 to 6,000 euros per vessel per year on purchase of the plastic bottles. And that is actually not even taking into account the logistics around the transportation, the storage, and the recycling of the plastic. Our product, the Jova Safe Water, can demonstrate a return on investment with a crew of 20 in 16 months. So it really is a product that will not only get rid of the plastic bottles on board the boat, but also tackle the issue of the cost for the owner of the purchase, storage, recycling, and transport of plastic bottles. Okay, so another issue that we need to address is the crew. We want to take care of our crew members on board all of the vessels that are transporting our goods. It's so important that they have access to clean drinking water. And the Jova Safe Water product is a biological barrier that is filtering the water on board, filtering away virus, filtering away bacteria, and then providing from the dispenser. You can see the dispenser on the right-hand side, providing cold water, chilled water for the crew when they're in the hot working environment on board the vessels. The engine spaces can be extremely warm, but even hot water as well. If the crew want to make a tea, some coffee, or even make some sort of small meal, it can be provided from the water dispenser. Okay, so the concept of our product. Hopefully you can see a very simple diagram on your screen of a ship. And here we have how the unit is installed on board. The idea here is flexibility. We should make it very easy for the crew in the areas where they are moving aboard the vessel to be able to get cold, fresh drinking water at all times. So the main filtration unit is sitting in the convenient area connected to the freshwater line from the hydrophore. And then the beauty of the system is the dispensers, which are only a footprint the size of an A4 piece of paper, can be placed aboard the vessels in the high traffic areas. And that is high traffic areas are often on the bridge, in the crew area where they are having their meals, and in the control rooms, which are located in the engineering spaces. So the system is designed primarily get rid of plastic bottles on board the vessels. The amount of plastic that is being used on board vessels is unacceptable. It's just common sense to get rid of it. But also to encourage to move away from plastic, there is a demonstrable return of investment on the product. And finally, we really, taking all of our knowledge from the marine business, want to make it as easy for the crew as possible to use and to interact and to feel that the unit is providing them with safe water. So that is the Jova solution. And, you know, I am very happy to get questions. And I say thank you very much again to our hosts. And it's a pleasure to have presented to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. I just want to say that very nice presentation. And again, to everyone listening in, do post your comments on our chat page, and then we'll come back to you on questions down the line. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, over to our next presenter, and that would be Mark Noster, who will be presenting from Hatenboer-Water.
Hi all.
Over to you, Mark.
Yeah, can I start? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, well, just what Michael said, I'm Mark Noester from the company Hatenboer-Water. From our head office in the Netherlands, we have also offices in Dubai, Houston, and Singapore. We are fresh in water since 1906. I want to start now the presentation. Well, I would like to take you along in the plan of action and the implementation that Hatenboer-Water successfully carried out with several owners. With every project, we start always with the question, do you have safe water on board? Safe water on board, which includes drink water, is essential for the technology and the crew on board. With good and safe water, you protect the machines and piping on board, and this results in less maintenance and replacements. And it protects the crew from potential pollution and disease. Think of showers, hand washing points, drinking tap points, which are potentials for pollution and spreading disease. In fact, safe water on board plays a huge part in onboard hygiene. This is why the flag states have designed and drafted sanitation regulations for the entire water policy on board, and not just only for drinking water. A good water policy always results in a lower total cost of ownership. So again, the question, do you have safe water on board? To the flag state in international rules and guidelines. If the answer is no, or it's not certain, it's best to start a survey to organize safe water on board. And what we often encounter, and also very logical, that often the installations already present in the engine technical rooms, but due to the lack of knowledge and attention, the water does not meet the standards you need. For example, we had a discussion with an owner that the water was not drinkable because the pH was too high. The project was set up in hold because there are many questions, as do we need extra filtration steps? Do we have to replace materials? And will the crew accept the water? And many other arguments. And also very understandable. But we discussed this matter, and with the knowledge of water, we are able to solve the problem quickly. We partly opened the ball valve of the water installation, and the problem was solved. And the result was that the water was in compliance with the regulations and safe to drink. So, with small adjustments, safe water can be created, and then unnecessary solutions do not have to be installed at the tap points. This is a case study where we worked according to this approach. Together with the owner, we discussed the water quality on board and concluded that the concept of safe water on board was fully present at this organization. So we continued with the next step, the implementation of the bottle filling station. And finally, the crew uses the bottle filling station with confidence. The next example, what you see in this slide, is more general than we have successfully implemented at several owners. For the owners, it was not always possible to guarantee that the water quality was enough. We have made a survey and made adjustments, and sometimes additional water treatment products have been installed in the engine room, technical room. The result was safe water on board, and the bottle filling stations were implemented on the ships. Also relevant that knowledge and awareness of the water quality has grown by the crew. The product. The bottle filling station we present is a robust maritime version that dechlorinates the water, improves taste, and actually promotes to use the drinking water on board. The station is equipped with a hands-free activation whereby the contact moments are kept nihil, which guarantees good hygiene. There's a counter that counts the number of plastic bottles that are saved. The product is cooled water for the crew. There's also an option to add drinking water bottles that the crew can use, and it's an extra support that the water is safe to drink. Yeah. In this slide here, I will present a general return of investment model, where we assume that safe water is already present on board. This calculation model can be used for 1 to 20 people with one bottle filling station installed in the ship. The cost of the bottle filling station and consumables for 3 years will be approximately €2,000. We add the drinking water that is calculating 2 liters a day for 365 days, which comes a total of €257. The result is that the cost of the ownership after 3 years will be €2,257. Let's compare this with the 3 years of supply of plastic bottles, where we have taken in account the logistical movement, waste management and storage, cool storage, which is in total €7,300 per 3 years. As you can see, the return of investment has already been achieved in 1 year, and the annual operational costs are very low, less than €100 a year. The next slide here, you'll see the other solutions we have bring to the market and we have used to reduce plastics on board. We have a complete safe water on board concept with water treatment installation installed in the engine technical rooms and a setup. We have to secure one tap point with pre-filtration and post-treatment. As you can see, we have several solutions available where saving are realized and the use of plastic disposables is reduced. Well, thank you, and let's fight plastic and stay safe.
Hello, does everybody hear me? I think so.
You are on stage.
Perfect. Then let's share my screen. That works as well. Okay.
It works well.
I'm ready to go.
Yes, you are.
Thank you for the introduction, Mikkel, and thank you IMPA SAVE team for letting me in over here, for giving me this opportunity. I'll do a presentation of 5 minutes as well, in which I explain what we do as PB International and what we want to do in the offshore market. PB International, we are a Dutch manufacturer of water treatment solutions since 20 years, mainly onshore, but around the world. So we've been facing many issues regarding drinking water, which we solved with our ultrafiltration technologies. Nowadays, we're looking for a partner to design an offshore solution for the drinking water problem that we are all familiar with. Let me start with a quick introduction of ultrafiltration. It's a membrane technology which separates the particles, bacteria, and viruses from your water. Only H2O and dissolved solids will come through the membrane, so only the things you want to drink. A next step would be RO water, in which we also remove the dissolved solids. So we are in between microfiltration and RO. What we do, we bundle the fibers as you see over here, and we create our own filter housing. And that's what makes us unique, because this makes us very, very flexible to come up with a customized solution for an offshore application. We are in many different markets, and I think some of these markets will give you a good indication that ultrafiltration in general is a very reliable and safe technology. while it's used a lot in healthcare, in the dentist market, in luxury residential, in for example, the United States, where city water isn't drinkable always, in apartments and in general drinking water creation around the world. It can be very small, like you see in a cartridge solution over here, but also in a bigger setup like this complete drinking water plant in the north of Italy, where we make drinking water from mountain water in a one-step filtration process. We do have many ideas for the offshore market, but we don't want to push a product, but we want to design a new product together with the offshore market. So that's why we are looking for partners right now. We do have a project already on a vessel. That's what you see over here. It's a plug and play two-way filtration step, ultrafiltration and activated carbon. It's plug and play, easy to install, easy to replace. And we want to redesign the system together with you, hopefully. The ROI, it's hard to say because it's not a complete product yet, but we expect it to be half a year, maximum 1 year. So I think that's a great ROI. We have a partnership with a company who is knowledgeable in creating tapping point like you see over here. And together with them, we are thinking about new solutions, but we need you as a partner for offshore market information. So let's partner up. You can contact me through my email address or visit our booth. Thank you for your attention, and hopefully we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you, Casper. Thank you very much. And again, questions for Casper, go to our chat line and we'll sum it up at a later stage.
What we basically do is that we turn ships evaporated water into an excellent constantly fresh drinking water. We are fully certified. We're complying with all regulations and actually over exceeding the regulations. We have in the shipping market, more than 1,100 drinking water vessel systems, and we ship every month, more than 150 systems, where our systems are characterized as best practice for drinking water by a very well-known oil major during the TMSA office audit done on one of our clients' tanker fleet. And we have distribution centers from Athens, Barcelona and Rotterdam, and we've recently added up Houston, UAE, Singapore, and Hong Kong. We're doing continuous research, development, full support. We're using, of course, high quality drinking water components in order to come up with the solution which we already give to many shipping companies. And we're Puricoms and Kinetico USA official global partner and global distributor for the global shipping industry. Right next, this is how we started. We did various trials with all kinds of commercial vessels sailing worldwide with crew members of between 22 and 30 people on board and mixed nationalities and vessels calling all the major shipping ports. The inlet to our system was the fresh water from vessels evaporator. Clients saw very quickly minimum savings of 45 to 65%. And our Infinity system produced an excellent water for drinking, cooking, preparing beverages, washing up vegetables, etc., etc. And of course, we had and have all the time excellent lab results on board. Right next, our Infinity is working on a 7-stage filtration. We're producing daily 380 liters of excellent drinking and cooking water. We have embedded very smart functionalities. Regarding the list pricing, the system one-off, which is plug and drink, comes at 2,650 euros. And then the yearly consumables for the next year are at roughly 700 euro. And as we've seen in practice with our clients, the return on investment on various vessels is between 3 to 4.5 months. Our system is mainly installed, as we see, in the kitchen and in the officers' mess room. And during the last couple of time, we have extremely high demand from new companies which want to install the system, also an extra system at the crew mess room. Installation is simple to follow. We're also having how-to videos embedded with QR codes on machine or print cards. And the crew system perception is indeed very acceptable and very widely used up and acceptable, with minor few exceptions. And in there, we're basically educating the vessel, the users on board, and as well as the shipping company, of course. Right next, this is, we can see a matrix of what our system does versus the plastic bottle. So as I said in the beginning of my presentation, we are over exceeding industry regulations as opposed to plastic bottled water on all issues. And before everything started on board, shipping companies had many issues with plastic bottles, with paperwork, and costs, of course. There was zero environmental protection, zero certifications on the plastic bottled water, and of course, no compliance at all with the strictest drinking water directive of the EU. How Infinity system helped vessels. We had, as I said before, very good crew acceptance by all major crew nationalities. We stop plastic bottle on board to protect the sea environment for the environmental protection. And then we had excellent and have all the time excellent lab results from all our clients who are continuously doing and working our system on board and doing their lab results here and then. And very fast ROI, return on investment, and very good savings. Very quickly, this is about it. Also, you can visit our IMPA booth afterwards for any more technical details, and also you can have the chance to enter a raffle. Thank you so much.
This part 2 is about the culture on board the vessels, and going from taking action of actually removing the plastic drinking water bottles on board the vessels and entering into a solution where you can provide water through a filtration systems or alike. Something I know you, John Beck, has had a lot of experience with at Wilhelm Ship Management. While we're waiting for Paolo to jump on board, John, I would like to ask you this one question. In my conversation, as my role involved in IMPA SAVE, conversations with ship owners and ship managers, culture often comes up, and it seems hard to be navigating this both within the organization, several departments within crewing, technical departments, even purchasing. But then it returns to the ship crew as well, that there seems to be a challenge. As a company, how has Wilhelmsen overcome that?
I think it starts at the very top, and our CEO and president made a very clear statement, I think about 18 months ago now, that we would take a strong stand on plastics on board the vessels. So we identified a number of key sources of plastics, but one of those sources was very clearly plastic bottle drinking water, which is seen as it's almost like it's not a luxury. Clean drinking water is very, very important to all of the crew. And many of the crew come from areas of the world where you can't just turn on a tap and get clean drinking water. So there's a hearts and minds and building some confidence with the crew to make sure that they're clear that the drinking water they can get on board that is from drinking dispensers is actually safe to drink. So we've visited our vessels, even today under COVID, when things are quite strict. The CEO and our VP Marketing have visited vessels in Singapore, and they've gone on board, they've done taste tests, they've talked it through with the crews, and just got lots of good feedback. And to help support this whole process, we decided to buy some stainless steel drinking flasks that we had with our logo and everything. Which it's a nice thing to have. It's a nice article to give to the crew on board, and that was all very favourably received. And they're now using those stainless steel drinking flasks and reducing the consumption of plastic water bottles significantly. So those are some of the things that we've done. We've also tried to follow the supply chain as well, and see what happens to plastic when it leaves the vessel. And the crews have very much been part of that whole process too. So it's just, I think the most important message is the message, you know, get it from the top, make sure it's well broadcast, and when we go on board vessels, you know, we walk the talk, and we don't drink plastic, even if it's offered to us, we don't drink water from plastic bottles. So.
John, so when you're engaging with the crew, and you talk about the journey of where the waste is ending up, do they get the point? Do they actually understand that this is not a good path?
Yes, they do, and they also go to what was really heartening. Really, there was the extent to which they go to segregate the garbage on board. They really do a good job on that. But the problem is when it's then offloaded into a barge, then that's where we kind of lose control of it. So that's one of the initiatives we're trying to work on at the moment, is to get more traceability of where the garbage goes. And I think also there's probably a regulatory issue here, because I think the way that garbage is segregated under MARPOL, I think, is actually different from the way it's segregated on land. So I think there are some issues there as well, perhaps, that need to be addressed at a higher level.
Yeah, John, how did you actually get about it internally when you made the decision to action this on the drinking water bottles after your research?
When the CEO asks for something to be done, most people listen to that and take note of it. That's a really good starting point. And once they know that he's very much sponsoring the project, then it's much easier to filter down. And I think it wasn't, you know, it's not the fact that the guys on board were. It wasn't that they wanted to use plastic water bottles. It had become the practice and the norm over the years, as it has done on land as well. Yeah. So it's just trying to get that message across, and then we can actually measure by vessel which vessels are purchasing how many bottles. So we can actually take it down to that level too. And it's not a blame game, but it's a kind of, you know, we can do some comparisons and say, you guys are maybe using more bottles than plastic water bottles than another vessel of a similar time, similar training pattern. You know, why? Start to understand that. And once the guys on board understand it, then they're all for it. And when we kicked this off, because we did some industry seminars and things in Singapore, and got some working groups together, and when we investigated and did some research, you know, many of the countries where our seafarers come from have dreadful problems with plastics on land and rivers and on coasts. So these guys can see that when they go home. So I think they very much feel they want to support the initiative.
So it is possible to really engage the crew here.
You know, one of the you know, we all get lots and lots of emails every day, and most of them are not so much fun. But sometimes I'll get an email with a picture of the guys on board with their stainless steel drinking flask, and they're all smiling, and that just makes my day. It's fantastic.
Okay. Well, that means there's hope. That's good, because it seems to be a big challenge for many ship owners and managers out there, because it always ends up with the crews very reluctant to do this and that. So I will actually drive that over to you, Paolo, here, because I know you got a presentation also on culture from Scorpio Ship Management point of view.
Okay, I'll start from scratch. So what we did originally, okay, we tried to look at the plastic bottles issues on board our ships. We immediately identified that was the issue, and from an environmental point of view, we wanted to eliminate plastic bottle from the vessel. So we started scanning for different solutions, different type of machines, also the solution of the bigger containers, the smaller container, other materials container. But in the end, we decided to go for a machine which was able to produce water using what we produce from the evaporators. So we started putting in place this solution as a trial, and we immediately faced a cultural issue from the vessels. So the usual habit of having your own bottle, and that's my bottle. I just use it for myself. I don't share it with anyone. And moving from that position to the use of a centralized distribution point where everybody is tapping water was kind of difficult. And obviously the immediate questions were, what is the quality? Is this safe? If it is safe today, it's going to be safe tomorrow, and so on. So we basically took it over. Like any change issue, you need to analyze it, understand what the issue and what the resistance are, and then move forward. So we decided to go for a trial. We selected few vessels with different nationalities of crew, and then we started putting on board the machines for a trial. We also went with a little bit of awareness, a little bit of marketing internally. Like John was saying before, the stainless steel flask has been a game changer, right? Every crew member is getting this stainless steel flask with the logo. They bring it back home with them. And of course, we also made a campaign in trying to sensibilize the crew on the environmental issue on plastic bottles. So this was quite an exercise, but it was also quite enlightening and also easy to go. I'm trying to change my slide. Here we go. The slide is there. Apologies. There is a lot of delay. So we call it water as a service because in the end, after we made a test of bottled water on board, we have built confidence, we got continuous and consistent feedback from the vessels, and then we enlarged the number of pilot vessels from only 3, the 3 different offices we managed, to multiples. We went to 9 vessels. And then while discussing on the return of investment internally, we were a bit concerned, not by the cost in itself of the machines. We decided to install 2 machines on every vessel, by the way, so that we have a redundancy and we have also multiple delivery point. But the return of investment was an issue, not just because of the value of the machine itself and also the small value of the water, but also because of the continuous maintenance and then the uncertainty around the quality of the machines that you can find in the market. I mean, this is a technology which is a little bit still between the household and the industry. So it's not always granted that you get the top quality available. So we just went on with conversation with our catering company, and then it was quite easy to see that this step from our side was also felt as a challenge or as a threat from their side, because obviously we buy the water in plastic bottle from the suppliers, and this is part of our catering model, so we pay the catering company for that. And then we had this kind of idea of say, why don't you buy the machine and you continue to supply me water as a service? So we just pay what we were paying before, or even less, a fee per person per day for the water that we are getting, and you, Mr. Catering Company, take care of purchasing the machine, making an investment, maintaining it, keeping it on the vessel, and I pay you for the water that you are producing and delivering to me. So this was probably a turning point, because then we managed actually to turn a potential investment and a cost into a saving, because the fee we were paying per day per person for the water was and is smaller than the fee we were paying before to get 1.5 liters plastic bottles to each of the crew member on a daily basis. So from there on, having won the heart and souls of the people and having basically resolved the return on investment issue, we were capable of moving on and rolling the entire fleet. And this was quite good, good challenge from a logistics point of view, from a production point of view. But in the end, we managed to deliver 2 machines to each of the vessels we own, run, and manage. We are today at more than 190 vessels installed in less than 10 months. We calculated 1.5, 1.6 million bottles, plastic bottles saved per year, and then we got a reduction on the cost of potable water to the crew member of roughly 15%, as well as incrementing the quantity of good quality water that each crew member could have. Because if before was 1.5 liters, today with the machine we produce roughly 250, 300 liters of good quality fresh water per day, which is then given to the crew for their use and also for cooking and for other beverages and so on. Then because of the echo, I hope you were not trying to tell me or to put question. I will go back to the volume, and if there is any question, I'll try to reply, although with a bit of delay. Apologies for that. And my presentation is over. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Paolo, for sharing. I mean, there's obviously different ways to roam here on how it's done. But I'll also go back to the main question and also address to you, John, that when we're talking about culture, again, it seems to most ship owners seems that the problem begins on board. They tried this before, or the filtration system has been tried before, hasn't really worked, and now you want to revisit it. Have you encountered this when starting this process, that it's been done before, but people are a little bit negative to do it again?
Not sure whether we've tried it before type thing, but what we have done is done some blind testing of water from the onboard dispensers versus bottled water, and that's been quite interesting because people generally can't really tell the difference, so, especially if it's chilled. So I think, yeah, I think where there are dispensers, you know, the potable water on board has to be tested anyway. We do that as part of our procedures and controls. So I think it's actually been quite a pleasant surprise. I think just how well the crew have taken up the challenge.
Okay, well, that's good. That means there's hope, because from my personal view, it seemed to me that most companies were a bit reluctant to take the step because of the crew, but it's so good and convincing to hear that your 2 companies have overcome this. And I know there are other companies as well who has been on this journey. One was supposed to be here today, but couldn't. I don't know, Stephen, I know you're in listening. Are we getting questions from the audience?
I think we've. I think throughout the last sort of 10 minutes or so, Paolo and John have done a good job of answering the questions that have come in. But I would just like to emphasise the point you made earlier, Mikel, that we have the IMPA SAVE Resource Centre, and we've got contacts here. We haven't been able to hear from Mark Hadfield at Flow Water, who gives a very nice presentation. I would recommend talking to all of the solutions providers. Their contact details can be provided at the IMPA SAVE website. And, you know, this is something that, you know, IMPA is really deeply committed to. I mean, the moment that, you know, Mikel and I were talking about this subject, Susan, our CEO and chair, just jumped at this. So, you know, there's a lot happening in this area. There's a lot developing. We're going to remain very much committed to this, and bringing more information, further webinars, further information. You know, we're going to be continuing this journey until we reach these targets, Mikel, right?
Yes, absolutely. I also want to say that when I started talking today, when we had this first webinar in July this year, we had 0 pledges. On Monday, when we had the IMPA SAVE run, we had 12. Today we got 13. And this is not a thing. This is something we must action on. We have to take our part in this as individuals, and then using the Knowledge Center, using the likes of you, John, or Paolo, to help influence the company's CEOs, if necessary, to action this. As I said, this is a purchasing organization, IMPA. There is cost savings in this, and there is definitely environmental ROIs in this. And so for me, it's just something we must act on and simply must do. And I'd love to see more people pledging. I mean, we've set a goal of 2025 to reduce this. It can start today with a pledge, and then we're on board. We share the knowledge about the progress here, and everybody's in the same boat here towards this journey. So I'm hoping all listening in that you are influenced enough to ask questions, to even challenge us if you think we are off on something here we shouldn't be. But I think we can agree we're onto something. And I also will say that people, again, if you missed the presentation from Jan Hotten here at 9 this morning, it will be put up on our website, so you can revisit and see it, because you should watch it. Yeah, it's about you guys taking action out there. So
we also just say, you know, bottled water is not shipped around the world. It's not just the flat. We're talking about the world's resources. We're talking about carbon and how much carbon dioxide we're putting into the atmosphere. So just by stopping bottled water consumption, it reduces the amount of plastic, but it also significantly reduces carbon footprint. So I think we shouldn't forget that either.
No, that's a good point, John. And we actually have some on that on our Knowledge Center. If people want to read up on how big this is, there's a lot more information. Also, how much oil it would take to just produce a single water bottle. There's a lot of information out there that's available, and there are discussions that would sound like big tobacco, but some would argue that there are plastics in the water bottles being used today. But there is bits and pieces, but whether it's harmful or not, we don't really know yet. Yeah, I don't know. Again, Stephen, if we have any questions from the audience, if we don't, then I think we should close the meeting for now.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to round things up. Let me say a huge thank you to Paolo and John today, and also to our presenters and our speakers. It was a little bit clunky at times. Please bear with us. We're still learning how to deal with an event of this scale in the virtual world, and quite a lot going on. But I think we made a good start, and I hope we've been able to deliver these messages that Mikkel and the IMPA SAVE Council have tried to get across over the last few weeks. And of course, a huge thank you, as Mikkel said earlier, to those contributors on the IMPA SAVE Council, which includes John and Paolo here and several others that are really helping to drive change with what we do. And I think, as I said earlier, there's an ongoing process here. We're encouraging dialogue between solutions providers and owners and managers to show that this is something that we can do. I think we heard from Ian Hutton earlier on the question of why. And I guess maybe, you know, a lot of us have seen things like these images before, but we are growing to appreciate the why. And what we've tried to present with this webinar is the how, and how you can actually do this. And I think you can see that some of our front runners here, John and Paolo, are actually making a difference, and those that are pledging will also continue that journey. So join us, be a part of this. The IMPA organization is about networking. It's about sharing ideas and debating the issues. And the issue of sustainability is absolutely the driving force for the IMPA organization now and into the future. Huge thank you to Michael for organizing everything here and putting things together, and for the work that he's doing as a volunteer And again, once again, thanks to everybody for playing a part in this, and let's continue the journey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.